Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to another video. And this time, I want to look at what would have happened potentially, or what could have happened if Hillary Clinton had won in 2016. What the 2018 midterms in the Senate would have looked like. And to get there, we're also going to have to remove a few seats prior to that and actually look at special elections. And the first one is we're going to have to remove a seat from Virginia because Tim Kaine was her vice president and he was an incumbent senator. So that's the first thing we're going to have to remove. And then trying to figure out which senators she would have picked for cabinet positions would have been interesting. And by the way, Republicans still have an advantage. So it's very likely they could have either forced Clinton to have a more moderate justice than Merrick Garland, or kept going until the Republicans had the presidency. So you could have very easily had 4-4 in the Supreme Court, which would have been a little upset. I would think Cory Booker, Liz Warren, and actually I'm going to switch it up. That way you can see which seats are actually there. And I'm trying to make some level of determination. And actually, whoops, I messed that up. Maine was... Sorry, I messed that up. And actually, it's 53. I'm assuming that every Republican senator would still win. I'm just kind of changing it so that Clinton just wins these 3 states and that the Senate elections were basically the same. She'd probably put Al Franken in... I don't want to go over 5 senators, though. And we'll say... maybe Gillibrand? Yeah, let's go with Gillibrand. Or Schumer. Doesn't really matter. We'll go with a New Yorker. Right. So... well, now I'm going to quickly pull this up because I've already forgotten which seats were up in 2018. I know most of them. Okay. And there we go. Alright, so states that had elections. Collins was not up. It was Angus King. Sanders was the one who was up. And it was not Warren's seat. It was the other seat from Massachusetts. Actually, let's go ahead and talk about special elections before we get to the midterms. I would suspect that Gillespie would run, and he would run fairly moderately in an open seat election in Virginia in a Republican wave year. And Virginia was fairly close in 2016. It was 3-ish%. 3 to 5%, somewhere in that range. And I'm going to jump on a limb and say, yeah, Republicans could win that special election. And let's say Republicans pick up one random seat that they probably wouldn't have picked up otherwise. Such as New Jersey. Minnesota was by percentage the closest state, or it was New Hampshire, one of the two. But it was extremely close, and I think without a Republican, well, actually, that was held to the midterm. The rest would probably not. Let's not flip New York. Okay. So I'm going to assume Jeff Flake runs for re-election. McCain obviously passed away, so there would be still a special election there. Oops. In 2018, which was or was it a special? I'm trying to remember which seat was up. No, sorry, that would just be Flake's seat, but I could have sworn there was no, it was Flake's seat. Sorry about that. And the special election for McCain's seat is this year. So both seats in Arizona, or no, just the one is up this year. There'd be, so 2018 midterms, King was up. Oops, Sanders was up. All of these states were up, and I'm just going to highlight this the way it is. Those seats were up. The other New Jersey seat was up. This one. This seat would still be up. There's a Democrat there, the Democrat there, the Democrat there. One of the Michigan seats, we'll do the whole one. The Democratic Wisconsin seat. Both Minnesota seats would have been up. North Dakota was up. Montana was up. That seat was up. There was one of the Tennessee seats was up. Both Mississippi seats were up for various reasons. Florida, oops, I messed up in Florida. One Florida seat was up, and it was a Democratic one. I got Missouri. Okay, I got Indiana. Okay. Nevada was up. New Mexico had a seat. California had a seat. Washington had a seat. And Hawaii was up as well. Okay. So Republicans would easily win, and I'm just going to demonstrate that by filling out the obvious wins for the Republicans. And that's already 50. Now, mind you, the vice president would still be a tiebreaker, but in a Republican wave year, you're not going to see Kyrsten Sinema win in Arizona. You're not going to see... I'll give the Republicans the benefit of the doubt that they could beat Tester in a Republican wave year, considering how close the actual Senate election there was in 2018, even in the Democratic wave year. In a Republican year, absolutely. By the way, I don't think Clinton would have been able to flip the House or the Senate in a presidential election. She certainly wouldn't win the House because for decades the House hasn't flipped during a presidential election. So, yeah. I would expect Donnelly to still lose, Bill Nelson to still lose. I would expect the runoff in Mississippi to still go to the Republican. McCaskill would likely still lose. Portman might... Oh, yeah, I forgot about West Virginia. Oops. And that one was Joe Manchin. Manchin would have a very, very difficult time. He had a difficult time in 2018. In real life. I mean, he still won by, I think, a little under 10%, but he had a much more difficult time than I think a lot of people, including myself, expected. I really had no faith that Manchin would lose. I thought Manchin was basically a shoo-in, but it wound up being somewhat competitive, which is kind of a sign of the changing of the times. But I'm going to give Manchin the benefit of the doubt and say he would still win, but it would be much more narrow. I'm going to be tempted to say Portman, and I want to say Wolf in Pennsylvania could still win. I'm going to give John James the benefit of the doubt here in Michigan. I'll also give Tammy Baldwin the benefit of the doubt, as well as Klobuchar. And I'll even give Tina Smith the benefit of the doubt. They're both very good fits for that state. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Democrats in New Mexico, Hawaii, California, Washington. Those would go Democrat. Dean Heller might actually be able to hold on to that seat. Virginia, I'm going to actually have that flip back to the Democrats. Maryland, Delaware. In a Republican wave year, the Republicans might actually be able to flip that New Jersey seat with Hugen over Menendez, but I'll give Menendez the benefit of the doubt, but it'll be a lot closer. New York, those states won't flip. And Angus King and Bernie Sanders are both very popular. I don't think those seats would flip. So Republicans definitely get some gains. And like I said, typically one special election winds up going to the party that really has no business winning an election in the state they won. For example, Doug Jones in Alabama. Or Scott Brown in Massachusetts. Typically, you find in a Democratic state, you find a Republican who just is an unusually good fit. Actually, you know what? Let's change it from New Jersey to Massachusetts, just because it would be hilarious. Just because Charlie Baker might decide, well, you know what? I'll appoint myself and then run in the special election, or I guess for the rest of the term or whatever, which would not expire for a while. So, yeah, Charlie Baker might actually, could potentially do that. And Baker's pretty popular in Massachusetts, but, we'll say that Baker actually wins a special election. So, because New Jersey might be a bit far. But Massachusetts is really weird, and since Charlie Baker's an extremely popular governor, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because that makes a lot more sense to me than a Republican somehow winning in New Jersey in Cory Booker's seat. So, yeah, Democrats would have a very difficult time doing anything in Clinton's term to begin with. Just because of a lot of stuff. And if people wanted to say that Obama saw the complete wiping out of the Democratic bench to the point where they had to drag Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders to run for office, imagine what 4 more years of the Democratic Party in the White House would do to their bench. They wouldn't have one. Sure, they would have some rising stars, but they'd all be coastal elites who don't really appeal to flyover country. I'm giving the Democrats the benefit of the doubt in the upper Midwest, but there would be a very good chance that the Republicans would be able to win that and say, we can't allow coastal elites to rule your life the way the Clinton administration is. And truthfully, the Clinton administration would have to really be careful with their nominations, because, again, they wouldn't be winning the Senate in 2016. They would have to be careful with their nominations for cabinet as well as the courts, because if not, the Republicans could just say, no, we don't consent to this person. Now, obviously, they would have to give some ground, or else they wouldn't be able to wipe this out. They wouldn't be able to pull off this map, but a lot of the stuff Clinton would want to do just wouldn't get done. And the momentum almost always swings to the opposite party of the White House in midterm elections. And yes, Democrats would win back some ground in 2020 in both chambers, But let's assume that Clinton wins a second term, as I think as scary as that maybe sounds to some people. The 2022 midterms would potentially see a complete destruction of the Democrats in Congress, to the point where the next Republican would probably have a trifecta for all 4 years and potentially for 6. And if you're a Democrat, that would scare you. So for the Democrats, Clinton losing was probably the best thing to happen to them in 2016, even if it doesn't sound like that. It may be a hard pill to swallow for some Democrats, because they've basically gotten a golden opportunity here in real life, whereas in an alternate universe with a Clinton presidency, they would not be in a very good situation. They would be in a very bad situation. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching. If you like the content, likes, comments, subscriptions, they really do help. I greatly appreciate them. I hope you all have a very nice day. I'll see you all next time. Take it easy. Have a nice day. And don't forget, I do live stream on Saturdays at around 9 p.m. Till whenever I decide to end it. And those I just talk about history or whatever I'm doing on stream. So hopefully I'll see you all there. Take it easy. Bye-bye.